All righty, time for the crossover sponsored by Atco Pest Control. We welcome in Dibs and Willard. They're in San Jose, and they are currently at the Dwight Clark Legacy Series, which starts at 2 o'clock. What's up, gentlemen?
Well, hello.
Yeah, fellas, what's
you
up?
guys are looking sharp. That's the rat on the table.
Hey,
I love it, Willard. Yeah, look at Dibby.
No, I don't. We do not need your charity. I heard the whole thing earlier. If it's not a coat and tie, it doesn't count. And I'm like, what's the matter with you guys?
Now, the collar shirt, it swayed me. You guys look great.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I wish that I was wearing a Golden State Valkyries t-shirt like you.
Yeah,
right now,
wow.
that's absolutely much more my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But no, this is. I actually, you guys made me do a Google image search of smart business casual because that's the direction we were giving, and I never know what that stuff even means. And if you Google image search smart business casual, you will see a lot of people that look like me and Dibs do right now.
There you go.
Yeah, this is not a coat and tie event. I don't want Brock Purdy thinking that we're too formal. We want to loosen him up.
Hey, how was the boss looking? He was sharp early.
He looks good.
Okay.
His jacket is off, though. His jacket is off,
okay.
And he's practicing the pace while looking down at the phone. You know how he does on remotes.
Look, yeah.
Right? We're texting people. We're trying to find out when people are arriving. We're stressing about it. That's the look.
So now this is interesting because I'm starting to be convinced that the boss actually doesn't wear the jacket. He just carries it around because when I came in this morning, he had it off and it was draped over a chair. I didn't see him in the jacket all day. I saw him walk out of the building with the jacket in hand. So he clearly drove down there without the jacket, and now I see that he doesn't have the jacket on now. So why'd you even wear the jacket?
Well,
or bring
you
the
need
jacket?
to have the jacket for later, but just to be fair about the weather, it's almost 80 down here in San Jose, and
Yeah,
the California Theater is wonderful, and it's not as warm in here as it is outside, but it's warm enough to where you're not really rocking the jacket unless you have to rock the jacket. And
get over here, man.
Yeah, now appearing
Look
in
at this.
between
there
Willard
he is.
and
He coming.
Dibs.
Let me see my
Live on the
man.
YouTube
Is the
audience.
jacketed
Look at
boss.
him.
That's
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Looking clean, baby.
Not only is it on, not only is the jacket
There it
now
is.
Look
on,
at
but
him.
he is eligible to now do that thing later on tonight where you put two fingers on the top of the jacket and then just drape it over your right shoulder
Gotcha.
and strut through the theater.
The John Travolta.
Yeah, that's happening. That's at about 6:15 tonight.
Hey, who's the big wig you saw so far?
Lucas Alexander.
Yeah.
Who had
There's
it?
nobody here.
Whitley Santorano is the correct
Whitley is
answer.
here. The lovely Christy is here. Tim is here.
Yeah.
Matt's here. He's got a coat on. Lucas has got not just a jacket, but he's got a hanky in the
Look
damn
at
pocket.
Lucas.
And I saw Dan Dibley. I did run into him. He's a celeb.
And our guy Keon, who is our host for the afternoon/evening, and I should take 30 seconds now to shout out my Keon, my son, turning 21 today in Santa Barbara, UCSB, Isla Vista, the DP, Del Playa, and I just want to tell Keon, I know he's listening on the Odyssey app, 1 drink, 1 water, 1 drink, 1 water.
1 scotch.
Wow.
1 bourbon.
And 1 water.
1 beer.
No, mix in a water,
what we're
son.
doing.
And he's 21 today, Steiny. That little guy who you've known for, just about his entire life almost, huh?
Pretty incredible.
That is.
Really incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, he and my daughter Grace.
Yeah.
Both.
I just saw that. She
21.
turned 22,
22,
right?
yeah.
Gracer, yeah, because my guy Quest is 23, and I know that your daughter's in between my 2 sons. And so, man, here we are. And I remember when your little one, Paja, was 2 years old, telling us both to shut the hell up and get out.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
fact.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Hey, you guys got some guests coming down there.
Well,
and it's a perfect day for Niner guests because the schedule was released.
Yes. And we have a lot of people who are going to be in the neighborhood, and it is going to be everybody here sitting at our table right now. It's all of our job to get all of them. Some of them can be slippery, so I don't want to make it sound like we know exactly when. This is going to be like an extemporaneous piece. It's possible. I will let the audience know that the Willard and Dibs show goes past 6 o'clock tonight.
Oh.
That's a possibility. We'll see because we are going to get these people on the air. Brock Purdy, Dre Greenlaw, Steve Young, let's see, Alex Smith, Jeff Garcia is going to be here. Who are our draft picks that are going to be here? No, I don't know if Ricky's going to make it. I heard Ricky's not going to make it.
Okay.
But Green, the second-round pick out of FSU, he's going to be here.
Dominic Puny.
And Puny's going to be here, and he's not puny. And then we've also, like, you guys know how this stuff goes. There's going to be people here we don't even know are coming.
Right.
And Alden Smith, he's going to be here.
Wow.
Yeah, they're all coming.
I'll tell you what, we just played your guy that you'll see tonight, Steve Young, the great Hall of Famer. We played the sound. I asked Steiny specifically to play the sound of him just keeping it real, guys, about the Niners had a great chance to get it done last year. That's what I appreciate. And they could get it done this year, Willard and Dibs. But when you speak to what he spoke to, it's kind of interesting and amazing. Like, they did have a down division and things go their way and they couldn't get it done. So we'll see how they bounce back. But 4 games this year against teams coming off buys.
Right.
I don't play ball. But Dibs, and you're not a former NFL athlete, but is that a big deal to you or not? Because last year they kind of had the same thing too.
Yeah, and they were 2-2 in those games last year, and they did have 4 games coming off the bye. So it's not a big deal until you look at the individual opponents. And that's why yesterday when we did the schedule game and I had them at 12-5, I had them losing to Dallas because Dallas is coming off the bye. I had them losing to Kansas City off the bye. They've got Buffalo on the second half of a 2-game road trip if they decide to stay out east, and Buffalo's coming off a bye. So not only are they difficult games no matter who you play off a bye, and I know Kansas City, the Niners are off a Thursday game, so it's a mini bye for them, but those games are tough no matter what. The Buffalo game in particular for me on the road, tough off the bye, but Steve Young's words, they definitely resonated to me because think about this, and Mark has said this about the Warriors as well. You don't get to automatically look at a team and go, 12-5, 13-4. We'll see you in February. You don't get to just do that automatically. So for Steve Young to say that last year was kind of their year, not that this year can't be another good year, but he was saying that last year was kind of their year to get it done, and they didn't.
Well, the whole thing, it's always a journey, right? The New York Jets thought they were going to be good last year, and then the 4th play of the year happened, and they weren't any good. And so I think that's the unspoken part of what Steve Young said, is it's not just that the division was down and that the whole NFC was down and that the 49ers had another second-half lead in the Super Bowl. They were largely healthy. I understand what happened to Dre. I know what happened to Dre in the Super Bowl, Hufanga, but like quarterback, McCaffrey, these guys were all healthy. We don't know. We can't assume that again this year. And then when you have a first-place schedule like they do, like, look at this. Look at this schedule that came out yesterday. You know, Maddie just asked me a few minutes ago, what's the first thing that stands out when you look at it? And I'll tell you what it is. It's freaking hard. It's really, really hard schedule. And so I also saw the story on PFT this morning that the 49ers, as we sit here today, are favored in all 17 football games that they're playing in. That's wild.
Wow.
And by the way, in my opinion, absolutely sets a lot of us up for a disappointing season because that's a snapshot of what our expectations are. We think this team can beat anyone, anywhere, anytime. And that's just not how football works.
Well, the thing that I thought was interesting about the Steve Young comments were if a radio personality or a TV personality made those statements, they wouldn't go over as well as it did with Steve Young. But because he's Steve Young, he can basically say, the 49ers got a lot of breaks last year. They were playing a Packer team that you know what I mean? Like, so he, I'm not saying he took a shot at him, but he put it in a way that you got to take to heart in a way.
Right, and he also talked about the monkey, and we asked him about the monkey on his back and how he was able to get the monkey off. And it was a great question by our producer, Lucas Alexander, and he talked about the monkey for Kyle Shanahan, and he said the monkey is the monkey. And so, until you actually win one, you can't really get that off your back. And for Kyle, if they go through this year and they're good again and they don't get it done again, and then you get into next year and you start to talk about Debo, yes, or Brandon, yes or no, and Pearsall's coming up, and what do you do about Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner and all the rest of it, and you start to churn the roster over, you start to look at a time where, not that you're running out of time, because Kyle's going to be here for years to come, but your best chances to win it, they might be now.
Yeah, no doubt. And you think about this stretch since 2019, the Niners don't need to hold their head down at all. They've been the NFC championship games that they didn't win. They were part of the Final Four, but we were having an interesting conversation about money and Brock Purdy. And Steiny brought up the component. Let's say you pay Brock Purdy and they lose a weapon. I told Steiny, you know what? You don't have the quarterback you think you have. If you look at that, and that's a deterrent. To me, I'm like, you got to pay Brock Purdy and you got to believe in him and know he can get it done with or without whoever would have to be sacrificed moving forward.
Well, I just think that there has to be this whole set of mental gymnastics that needs to happen before we get to contract time with Brock Purdy. I don't know what it is about the NFL fan base as a whole, but I even feel it in certain spots from the 49er fan base. This idea of not being able to wrap your head around Brock Purdy as a $50+ million player. There is zero question that that's what and who he is. Granted, now this is obviously unless some sort of crazy injury happens. But we had a huge, my buddy who helped us out with the schedule release party yesterday, who's a fancy TV reporter in New York and is a lifelong Lions fan. There's no hesitation whatsoever when you say Jared Goff, $52 million a year. And they're like, yep, Jared Goff. If Jared Goff is $52 million a year, what's the hesitation with Brock Purdy? You look around the league, no one's saying he's Mahomes, but if you've got the capabilities that he has, that's what it costs. Period. Story over.
Look at Dak and Kyler Murray. They haven't earned it.
Right.
There's more examples than that.
But Daniel Jones getting $40 million per, right? I mean, Danny Dimes didn't earn it, but you're in a spot where you've got no other choice, really. You've got a guy who is pretty good, and Brock Purdy's better than pretty good, and that's why what Mark is saying about Detroit and Jared Goff, and our guest yesterday was talking about the draft, and they're chanting his name. 200,000 people chanting Jared Goff's name, so of course he gets that money. And so when Brock Purdy is in line to get the same bag, his bag is going to be as big, if not bigger.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM and HD1 San Francisco, an Odyssey sports station, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Upgrade your savings dividend. Open a First NorCal first-class money market today. Of all the guys on that list that I saw you're hoping to get or that you will get, try to guess the one guy that I'm most intrigued about. Just because of who I am.
I'm going to say, there's two names that came to my mind. They're both defensive players, but I would bet Dre Greenlaw.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys can break some news today. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's going to have to tell you, and you're going to ask him, how's the injury? And he's going to tell you that he thinks it's great and he's ahead of schedule. And no matter what he says, it's news because he hasn't talked, at least as far as I can tell, since the Super Bowl.
I think there was one conversation that he might have had with Mayoko, who is one of the hosts here tonight, but I don't know if there was anything firm coming from, do you think week one is realistic?
Right, exactly.
Whether he says yes or no, I agree with you. That's newsworthy.
Yeah, especially if you're Nick Sorensen. Salah and D'Amico Ryans, they had the limousine was ready. Now, you got a light bulb out in the tail light with Greenlaw not there. So you gotta kind of fix that, Dibs, until he gets back, if he does get back.
Yeah, and I think he will get back. It's a question of whether it's week 7, week 11, week 14. Where does he think that he might be able to make that happen? And I'm sure he won't be able to pinpoint exactly when he'll be able to come back, but how he's feeling and, what he's looking at as far as this year goes, that's going to be big for a team that, as you guys know, most NFL teams now rely on the nickel more than ever before, which means two linebackers. And when you have Warner and Dre Greenlaw as your two linebackers in the nickel, you're probably the best two linebacker tandem in football. Maybe you look at Baltimore with what they have with Roquan Smith and their linebacking core, but without Dre Greenlaw, this defense takes a big hit in the nickel defense.
All right, there's 2 more things we have to get to before we run, and one is I was sitting next to a group of women who asked for 10 separate checks.
Oh, congrats.
It was a group of 10 at a restaurant.
You were sitting next to a group of women. You had me there.
It brought this restaurant to a crippling standstill.
Here you go, Willard.
But
You can't do it.
Let's go. What was I going to say? What was the other? Oh, the foul ball at the Giants game last night.
Can you believe that crap?
Well, I didn't see it. I just heard about it. So I know that to sort of get emotionally charged by it, I'd probably have to see the video.
Right.
But in general, my general rule, I've only caught 1 foul ball in my life. I've caught some batting practice balls out in the stands. Thank you. And it actually just happened a season and a half ago. And there's 2 rules that I have. Number 1, like you're trying to catch the ball, but once this becomes some sort of multi-hands competition, I'm out. I'm not fighting anybody for the ball. And the second rule is if you get the ball, you immediately look for a kid.
Wow.
Period.
Wow.
Period.
Yeah. I'm with you on the second part.
But you don't go looking and searching in a young lady's chair where the ball was by her hip, and because she had her hands occupied. If the Dibs, come on, you guys are gentlemen. I know. Come on, talk to her. That was wrong.
I mean, what were her hands occupied with? Was she holding
nachos,
a baby?
Popcorn?
Nachos. I thought it was nachos.
How about carbs?
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Was she holding a baby?
No, she was.
She was holding nachos and popcorn. Nachos and popcorn.
What the hell's wrong with nachos and popcorn?
Right, and she spent about $50. Yeah.
We are in an era where pronouns are out the window, and we all are striving for equity, and we all want everybody to be identified and acknowledged as people and as equals. If there's a foul ball and an individual, and we don't know what this popcorn eater's pronoun is.
Careful.
Do we?
Careful.
Do we know?
I'm
moving my chair a little bit over.
No, you don't take the play off because I'm speaking on my truth, my reality.
Go ahead.
When there's a loose ball in the stands, that ball is loose. And
there are also loose ball fouls.
Right.
There are loose ball fouls.
I don't know, and I haven't seen the video, but I don't believe that there was any physical contact, and if there was in the NBA, there would be no foul. Because as we know, no blood, no foul. If you were choosing nachos and popcorn over the retrieval of a souvenir, what are we doing here? You're on your own.
But you can't go grab bag and go in somebody's chair and seat and scrimmage for the ball. That's what he did.
Was there contact, Goo? Was there contact?
Oh, it was offensive to me. Yes, it was contact. And then the other part is her guy came later after it was over. Mia would have sent me like, you better get that damn ball from him. And the guy came like Mr. Furley. He just looked like, come on, help me out, bro.
Well, your story earlier was incredible about the fact that the guy behind you got hit on the head, and you got the ball and you gave it to him. You gave it to a stranger, and your own family was like, what the absolute guru are you doing?
And asked for it back, and he said, hell no.
My God.
Thought you were hurt. Oh,
I love it. That's such a great story.
That is a good story.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I've had situations where there was souvenirs that were thrown into the crowd, and I'm remembering the Cow Palace, year 2 of the Sharks, when they played at the Cow Palace, and it was fan appreciation night, and they were throwing Frisbees into the crowd, and there was a Frisbee that was thrown, and it was loose, and I went for it, and there was another individual who was also going for it, but I happened to get there first, and I ripped that Frisbee out of their hand, and there may have been a high-step celebration.
Look at my guy.
Yep.
Hey, Steiny asked me about...
Shout out 92.
We've been not ripping the Giants, but it hadn't been pretty. Steiny goes, what about the Giants last night? Gutsy win, huh?
You're welcome. That's all I have to say.
Oh, my God.
What are we thanking you for?
Credit to the rescue.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Equifax?
I mean, they clearly were inspired by something, and you tell me
Could it
what
be your
was
18-minute monologue?
Yeah, it was what? Take the over. It must have been. No, I actually did get that message from a bunch of people. 1-0 post-rant.
Oh,
but
boy.
Look, I don't care about any of that. Here's what I care about. Like, I got to sit down last night, watch a baseball game, and that's what it looked like.
Okay.
It looked like a baseball game. Again, this was never about the standings. This isn't about one night. Having one good night doesn't fix the whole thing. But when you've got your ace going against a rookie, against your rival, can you please make this look like a baseball game and be competitive? And for the whole thing to really be buoyed by the kids. I mean, Logan was fantastic.
The catch.
That catch in center field was about as good of a catch as you're ever going to see. Man. And then for Ramos and Matos to both get key hits in the game as well, that's exactly what they needed going into an off day. There's a whole lot that's not fixed.
Yeah.
That what they did last night, that needs to be what they look like every night. That's all anyone's asking. Just look like a not embarrassing baseball team. That's the only thing that everyone's asking for. And that's not what you've been doing. Last night they did, so good for them.
Yeah, I still can't believe I've watched Matos in the 2 previous games, and then he makes a catch like that last night.
Right.
Unbelievable. He took the right route on that one.
I was going to say, how many people texted their friends? Because I know I did. I texted Dibs right away, and I said, I've always said that I love
my phone
Matos.
blew up, Willard, because I was killing him.
Matos takes great routes, doesn't he, at center?
Boy.
I've always said that.
Yeah, that was a great catch.
It was what Jung Hoo Lee tried to do, right? And he got it done.
Right.
Well, yeah. And while he's laying on the ground, though, your excitement is certainly kind of watered down because you're like, did we just lose another outfielder?
Man.
But wait, Steiny, before you bag on the shoulder.
He's showing it.
I know. I can see him. I can see him all the way from San Jose.
It's a major bag alert.
Wait, no, what's your party of 10 separate checks thing?
Tell him.
I was in Spokane last weekend for a golf thing. We were going out to a restaurant in Spokane, and there were 10 women seated next to us, and we sat down and waited, and the service was slow in the first place, and the women then were settling up, and they said 10 separate checks.
Oh. No way.
Yep.
What'd the server do? What'd the server do when they asked?
They just did it, and we left.
Wow.
Oh, you didn't wait to see how it all ended?
No, because we were already there 10, 15 minutes and hadn't been served. The bartender apologized. It was a bad scene.
Look at him.
That's a really bad scene. But
right.
how do you guys handle it, though, when the mature process is selected and people go, just one bill is fine, and then they start passing it around?
Dude.
How do you guys handle that?
We usually have one guy who pays, a gentleman named Jay.
Unky
He's
Jay,
very
dude.
generous.
Unky Jay.
Yep.
Willard,
My
I'm the
God.
guy. I just had a salad.
You see, you got it.
8 martinis, Dibs. I just had a salad.
To me,
There
it's
you
a
go.
contract. It's a contract on the way in. If you're a party of whatever, 6 or more, that means you've automatically signed a contract.
All right, there you go.
That you're splitting it
All
even.
right, that's what
and
Steiny
it's your
said.
fault if you only order water and the person next to you is
Steiny
ordering
said that.
Manhattans. That's your problem.
No doubt.
All right.
And shout out Unky Jay for being that guy, because even before it gets to that, I had a salad and you didn't have a salad. He's like, give me the damn thing. And we've been to dinner, Mark, with 27 people.
Yeah.
And the bill is like north of 15 large.
Wow.
And Unky Jay's like, before we even give the check to anybody, I'm going to give you my card before the bill even comes. There is no bill.
Right.
There is no bill.
Are you Venmoing him after, or
No.
just covering it?
If you
like that?
offer to,
'Cause if he
if you
covers
offer to
it-
Venmo him, he might slap you.
Well,
Wow.
Unky Jay.
I'd like to be friends with
So
Uncle
I don't
Jack.
need to get
All
up.
right.
Yeah, go ahead, Donnie.
All right, that's going to do it
all
for
right,
us.
gents.
We'll be listening. Don't go anywhere. I want to do it right. Don't go anywhere. Willard and Dibs are live from the Dwight Clark Legacy Series today. They're going to have a lot of 49er guests. Do not go anywhere. Keep it locked on 95.7.